All right, we're live. End of the week, kind of crept up early. Seems like this week flew by, and next week's going to be faster. Market's not open on Monday because of the 4th of July holiday. So, unfortunately, next day it'll be a 3-day weekend, and then we'll have only 4 days of trading next week. But getting right into it. So, July 2nd, it's Friday. I'm going to pull up, go through kind of some of these charts, some of these stocks that I'm watching. Um, kind of start at the bottom, I guess, of the ones that I'm not as, bigger plays in. I'll start with the BNGO. Let me pull that one up real quick. Actually, before I get into it, I want to point out yesterday, anyone who joined me yesterday morning, I did mention something about kind of a weird spike that happened across the market at 5:05 a.m. that I just noticed on like all the stocks I'm watching, and the same exact thing happened today. So here's CLOV up here. You see, it was a high at 12:35, a low of 12:20. Here's GameStop, 5:05 a.m. A high of about 207.79, low of 204. ATOS 671 high, 658. They all kind of like had these big candles right at 5:05 a.m. Not sure what it is. It happened at 5:05 a.m. yesterday. My speculation yesterday was that it had something to do because the S&P 500 kind of had a similar spike and it happened across the entire market. And maybe it had to do with the jobs release, reports that were coming out at the same time. But today we saw the exact same kind of big candles. And it wasn't just these four stocks that I'm pointing at. I'm also looking at my charts. BNGO had a similar drop, right around the same time. Space, that's kind of had a big candle. Even AMC, something similar. So it definitely, AMC actually had it was a big candle as well, but it was green. But it was like all at the same time, all of these stocks just had these huge candles. And it's the second day in a row that at 5:05 we saw something like that. So I looked around on a lot of the subreddits. I always mention that I go to Supersonic a lot to try to get some information. Because even though, that's specific to GME, a lot of times they'll post on the entire market. And someone did make a post about it yesterday, but there wasn't any, information to like back up why it might have happened. So not sure what it is, but let's see here. Other interesting stuff. I know today's Robinhood's IPO, but yesterday they also announced that Vlad, the CEO or the owner of Robinhood, his phone got seized, I think, by the FBI in relation to the day they cut off trading on GameStop and AMC and a bunch of other stocks back in January. So seems like things are kind of heating up. Ever since Gary Gensler came in the SEC, I think there was some speculation that maybe he would actually come in and start regulating. We'll see if that actually happens. But there has been a bunch of new filings by the SEC and DTCC and some of the other major entities that are supposed to be keeping the markets clean. And it's just really a matter of, if they're going to enforce the laws. But it really does kind of seem like things are heating up. I know there was another big article yesterday, not sure how related it is, that came out that Citi, Goldman Sachs, and a bunch of other banks were being, I think, indicted or, had something coming against them, and that was out of the state of New Mexico in the relation to, I think, CDs. But, so it seems like they're starting to crack down, or it's starting to get more media attention, more exposure, and ultimately, even if unrelated to the naked shorting and the kind of market manipulation, I think it's all good in terms of really putting a magnifying glass on these bad actors. So we'll see how it all pans out. Getting to the charts. So I'm going to start with BNGO. Not the greatest day. I think it closed down almost 7%. You know, I've been talking about this channel between 7 and 8 that it had been trading in for quite a while. Somewhat disappointing to see it close below 7. That is the lowest. It broke out of that channel a little bit. Really looking for a pullback today to kind of get back in there. We'll have to see what happens. We did get an announcement that their chief medical officer is going to be speaking at a conference, I think in India, on July 13th and 14th. So, you know, maybe we get some good news there and we'll see some bounce back. But, you know, something I'm keeping my eye on. It did break out of that channel, and it does look like it's descending now, you know, where I was looking for it to break upwards. So, like I said, kind of disappointed with that one. AVXL was kind of the only big gainer yesterday out of all the stocks that I'm in. Did end the day up 7.5%. There still is a gap here that looks like it possibly needs to be filled. But a buddy of mine also pointed out kind of this cup and handle pattern forming. So maybe we will see it kind of step down, touch right here, dip off this 22 and take off. You know, I brought this up yesterday, but I think this is really bullish for the stock. You know, analyst ratings right now have this thing on the low at 25, high of 50, but the mid-range is 35. So I really think that this is just kind of a consolidation off this big run-up, and we're going to see this thing really go make some new heights. A lot of great announcements that have came out of this company during this run-up from middle of May. And, you know, anytime a stock gains, you know, I think, what is this, almost 3 times, you know, in such a short period of time. And we talked about this with CLOV too, just how it, you know, you have that big momentum, and CLOV happened in a couple of days, that once something like that happens, you need to get this consolidation period. Unfortunately, you know, with CLOV, the consolidation has been taking quite a while, but it's also a heavily manipulated stock. AVXL, I don't believe has anywhere near like the type of short interest and manipulation going on with it. So kind of a different animal there. GameStop. What do we got? So, I mean, nothing really. Still trading sideways in this channel. Above 200 again. They can't get it below 200. But it hasn't been able to really break out of, you know, 225-ish. Looking at the Stonks tracker, I know I've referenced this site before, but quite a bit of in the money calls for a stock that's trading in the 200, and you know, with such a small float in relation. I think the free float on GameStop is somewhere around 75 million, somewhere in there. I could be wrong on that. That's just if my memory serves correctly. So 250 is a major mark. If it could hit that by today. We've seen some wild swings in GameStop, so we'll have to see how that goes. But other thing that I want to point out about GameStop, a couple things. You know, I know yesterday I talked about the potential for an announcement. You know, that there was some speculation with the crypto dividend or token or NFT, whatever it may be, that's out there, that if they were going to announce a dividend for July 14th, the announcement would have to come to today or yesterday, because it would be 10 days before. So I think that's still on the table. There was actually, so yesterday across all social media platforms, GameStop changed its logo from white and red to just plain white, like black and white. And someone on the Stonks Reddit posted like an actual video shot of them messaging GameStop on, I think, Instagram or Twitter or one of those platforms, and asked them what's up with the logo change. And the person said, not sure, maybe there's an announcement coming, with a smiley face. So kind of like, who knows, it could be nothing, but it could be, you know, maybe that the speculation's correct and the announcement is coming. One other thing, just because some people might not know exactly what I'm referring to about this crypto token with GameStop. So here is their website. Someone found this, I think, a couple months ago, but it's NFT. Let me pull this down if anyone wants to check it out. NFT.gamestop.com. you know, obviously the regular website's www.gamestop.com. So this is a small web portal that the company hasn't advertised yet, but somebody came across and found. And it kind of aligns with them talking about the creation of blockchain and hiring people for, I mean, not creation of blockchain, but hiring an executive that had a background in blockchain technology, crypto technology. And, you know, there was some posts that they had been hiring, building a team of developers that had a background in this. So this is a website that popped up, not much on there, just, you know, but it does show that they're working on it. They're building a team, but then it references this token. Someone actually did the legwork and figured out that this points to a GME token that is set to launch on July 14th. So that's where all the hype on this built up. And then yesterday, so and this may be nothing, but yesterday posted because there's this little dot up here, and if you click on it, it's kind of a runner type game, but and this has been, you know, this game has been out there since all of this happened a couple months ago when this website was found. But basically, when you play the game, and I'm not going to sit here and play it, but I'll just show it. You know, it's got like, you know, just where you're on a little cat, like in space, and you're jumping over stuff or whatever, and it keeps score. That as you hit the high score or the score of 700, a full moon shows up. As you hit a score of 1400, a full moon shows up. And then as you hit a score of 2100, a moon shows up. Well, that correlates with the date of 7/14/21, which is the speculation on when this crypto token would be launched. So could be some crazy stuff happening with GameStop soon. That's the speculation, at least. I try not to get my hopes up. I'm just kind of holding the stock and see what happens. But could be interesting. One play that I'm not in that I am going to mention just because we keep talking about it on the channel is SPCE. It has been kind of going down ridiculously after the big run up from their, you know, I think somewhere back here is when they had the successful launch. I know some of you guys that have been following on the channel are invested in space. I've been talking about how I was looking for a good entry point because I do think that this company has a lot of potential. I think I might have missed the boat, and I'm not joining in on space anytime soon because I don't like FOMOing in, but major gap up last night. So it closed the day at 43 and hit a high of 60. It's now trading downwards at 52, but all of this was mostly based off a ton of news that came out yesterday after hours that Richard Branson is actually trying to launch into space before Jeff Bezos. So, you know, and that they're trying to do that soon. So, you know, again, if you are in space, I'm happy for you. If you're in Virgin Galactic, I'm not getting in it anytime soon, although I do love the stock. I just don't have the time or energy to follow a sixth one at this point. But I do think this is a strong stock. All right, two more left. Sorry, and I'll try to hurry this up now because we are almost getting near the open, and I want to get to the comments. But ATOS, you know, that was one also positive on the day yesterday, only 1.2% though. You know, and so it did close higher. The potential that when I left yesterday, I know I mentioned at the end of the stream that I wouldn't be doing power hour because I was going to take my kids up to Santa Cruz for the day. So when I left yesterday, I was kind of just following the stocks on my phone, but there was still major potential for that gamma squeeze by July 16th. We'll take a look at the option chain here in a second. When we look at the daily chart on this, there is still some potential gaps that could be looking to get filled. One specifically here and potentially here, although I think that these two wicks kind of overlapping each other may be sufficient enough. So I think if anything, maybe we go down and touch this 591, but you know, we did already drop to 605, and this could be ready to take off. I mean, when you have other factors in play like the options chain and everything else, we may not be looking at a gap fill at all. Taking a look at the option chain for July 2nd, or I'm sorry, why are we not on ATOS? Oh, I don't have them linked. Options, ATOS. I forgot. For some reason I was talking about Disney yesterday. I don't remember Oh, I think I was talking about safer options or something, stuff with lower IV. But anyways, all right. So open interest still sitting there, 57,000. Not a ton of offsetting puts. 58,000. Not a ton of offsetting puts. This dropped. The $12 was in the 50 range. It's now at 45,000. But I mean that's still an insane number. The option chain still looks ripe for gamma squeeze, and we still have until July 16th. And these deep in the money ones, if you look at the delta, we're still from about $4.50 onward. Um, Not a lot of offsetting puts, and still a lot of room to hedge. So the closer we get to the 16th, the option chain itself will continue to start to push this stock up. It's a relatively low float stock with only 100 million. I haven't checked the free float on that. Actually, I'm going to do that right now. Or if anybody knows and wants to throw it in the chat, but let me see here. Just looking at Yahoo Finance real quick to see if we can figure this out. I'll pull it up at some point. I want to get through all this, but I want to see what the free float is too, because I'd imagine it's much smaller. But yeah, I think ATOS is still ripe for that gamma squeeze potential. I mean, almost all of the overhyped stocks and highly shorted stocks took a dip yesterday, and ATOS held strong. So I really think that there's some major support behind it. Um, doesn't really feel like retail as much. A lot of big orders coming in on this stock. I think that there's some whales that are really trying to push this stock and will eventually strike and push this above, that $7.50, $8 mark to get it moving. Um, and last but not least, CLOV. All right, kind of a bad day, but like I said, um, it's a highly manipulated stock. Um, So that was my notes from the other day. Kind of a highly manipulated stock, and it's highly shorted, and all the highly shorted stocks dropped yesterday. I mean, even AMC, another one I keep comparing this to, went down 4%. Clove went down 7. GameStop dropped 4.5. So. I think we talked about the max pain being 13. Market makers were able to push it below 13 yesterday. Um, I mean, this stock is still worth, in my opinion, double to 3 times what it's trading at right now. It's just a matter of, that was a pretty decent dip if anybody wanted to get back in and jump into it. Um, I still think that this stock has room to, nothing's changed about my valuation of it, my thoughts for the future. I think we just got to buy it and hold it. It's still one of the highest shorted stocks on the market. And, you know, the other thing that happened yesterday that I think could have potentially hurt a lot of the meme stocks or the highly shorted stocks, Michael Burry, who at one point was invested in GameStop, but he's been predicting, market crashes and this and that. And he was the guy that predicted the crash in the housing market in 2008, kind of that bubble. But he has been wrong in recent times too. But he actually, I guess tweeted something or put something out yesterday that he thought that the memes were going to crash sometime soon. So we'll have to see what happens. Anyways, with Clove, and we'll just take a look at this real quick. Ortex data. Again, 48% of the free float is on loan right now, 36% short interest, one of the highest short interest stocks in the market right now. 54 million shares on loan. We have seen as high as 61, which would tell me that there's probably about 6 million out there still. Data is updated today, and it seems like there's, as of right now, more borrowed than returned. Less than 1 million. But what I've noticed is now that I've been kind of checking these numbers every day, the days where we're seeing more returned than borrowed early on. It kind of continues that trend throughout, and it seems like the borrowed is outweighing the returned right now. So we'll see how that plays out. Cost to borrow did drop a little bit or a lot. We're seeing a minimum of 0.46 on one end, 134% on the high end, and then the average is 47%. 47% is still high. It's still ridiculously high. Um, so, that is still expensive for these shorts to be in this stock. Sorry, I'm waking up still right now. I kind of had a long day yesterday, but I guess my point is this too. We're looking at a minimum, right? 0.46 minimum. That could be one lender that's charging 0.46%, which is low. That's pretty damn low. It's lower than 1%. But that could be one lender, and there could only be one lender here at 134. But the average, most of the people that are borrowing this stock right now are still paying 47, and this price fluctuates throughout the day. We saw that price go down because we saw the stock drop tremendously. Looking at borrow desk, that's yesterday's numbers, 87% with 100,000 available. Remember, this is only through one lender, and now as of today, still 87% with 70,000 available. So there's still a ton of short interest in the stock. The shorts haven't gone anywhere. They just kind of won the day yesterday and knocked the stock down. Nothing's changed. I guess that's my conclusion of that. You can't get discouraged on red days. You just got to kind of hold through and weather the storm and just tell yourself that, hey, I'm in this for the long term. All right, let's see here. All right, I'm gonna go through the comments real quick. Let me turn this back on, and then I got some other little announcements that I want to make as well before we get to market open. So let's see. Good morning, Coach. Any thoughts on failure to deliver shares from 6.6, 6.7, 6.8 being purchased today? Let's get the gamma ramp up. Yeah, I know that they have to, right? It's got to be. There's that T21 for failure to delivers, and they're able to, even if they cover, once you get to that, they have 21 days to do it. So, I haven't been tracking a lot of the T21 stuff on CLOV as closely. But, I will say this, and I'm not sure what happened with GameStop, but just in relation, the failure to deliver is being covered in the T21s. T21 days were pretty exciting up until last week. Last week, there was a ton of failure to delivers that were supposed to be bought up in the market, and we saw absolutely no price action and nothing happened. My assumption is that they somewhat figured out how to circumvent that, or whether it be through kind of like manipulative options or something like that. But it seems like they've kind of found a loophole through that. Doesn't mean that nothing's going to happen. It could have just been an anomaly with GameStop on that one specific date, but I try not to get my hopes up. I know it's easy to kind of find stuff to get hyped about, but I think the best thing we can do is just buy and hold. Monster pre-market on Space, yeah, I covered that a second ago. Let's see here. Dear King George, this relationship isn't working out. I'm breaking up with you, George Washington. Happy Treason Day. All right, or Happy Treason Weekend. Yeah, absolutely. 4th of July. Thanks for reminding me. We got 4th of July is coming up on Sunday. Markets will be closed on Monday. I kind of mentioned that right at the beginning of when I got on the stream, but the markets will be closed Monday, so it's going to make for a 3-day weekend, which if you're into the stock market, it always sucks. Never thought I'd be looking forward to Mondays like I have over the last kind of, I'd say more so like 5 years. Because even when you're kind of just investing and putting money into something, maybe you check your phone a couple times a day, but when you're actively trading, yeah, Mondays are the new Fridays. Let's see here. Good morning. Good morning, Coach. How was your time with the family yesterday? We had fun. My wife had to work, so it was just me and the kids, and we went and met some other friends out there. And just let them ride the rides and stuff. And I think anyone who wasn't here yesterday, I took my kids up to Santa Cruz just for the day, and took them to the boardwalk. If you're not familiar with it, it's out on the coast, about an hour and a half from where I'm at, and they had a good time. It was fun. Thank you for asking. Um, let's see here. Hi, bro. CLOV, buy and hold. Absolutely, that is the message. Um, so FTDs are due to 6. How might it affected the drop? Kind of get back to that other one. So basically, the way it works, and I'll just get into it for anyone who's not familiar. So what's supposed to happen is, and a lot of this has to do with the options chain, right? When you see a big day come in on a Friday of expiration and a bunch of options expire in the money. Basically, what happens is, now the people who wrote those call options, especially if they wrote them naked, need to deliver those shares to the clearinghouse to deliver them to your broker. Well, your broker is going to just give you shares. The clearinghouse is going to, market makers, they're going to give you shares. But the person who wrote those needs to come up with the actual shares and then give them to the clearinghouse. And if they don't have them, they're given, for whatever reason, 21 days of leeway on this failure to deliver the shares. And that 21 days, it kind of, when that comes up, that's when they absolutely have to deliver them. So on those days when the failure to delivers need to come up and actually be given, sometimes you'll see significant spikes in the stock, because these shares have to be bought. But like I said, it didn't necessarily pan out with GameStop recently. And GameStop has been one that, failure to delivers have been really tracked. And I haven't seen anything as to why yet, but my speculation is that they just found another loophole on how to get around that. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It could be a big day with the failure to delivers coming in. And I just remembered I was sitting here talking about Ortex and all that. I did not check the options on CLOV, and I want to look at that before we, because if that was to happen today, we still have 20,000 here between 13 and 1350. There is almost 9,000 puts now, so that would be about 1 million shares that need to be hedged. 21,000 here with only 3,000 offsetting puts. So that's almost 1.8 million that would need to be hedged. So the gamma ramp still exists. We just need to get that push, and maybe the failure to delivers could bring that for us. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. Elon in the house, thank you for joining us again. Hi, good morning. Let's see here. Don't forget that space can go to zero if anything bad happens during the fly. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I said kind of originally, I'm not looking to kind of chase into it. I was looking for a good entry point to maybe like jump in and just buy a couple calls or something. And honestly, if today would have been trading flat again, I probably would have looked at that as my entry point to maybe just grab a little because it looked like IV was kind of slowing down. But with space gapping up the way it is right now, I can't see myself chasing in right now. Even though, who knows? I mean, this thing could eventually, keep running right now. We'll just have to track it and see. The market itself is gapping up 1.3, so 0.3%. Talking about the SPY right now. We'll have to see how that goes. And the opening bell did just come up, so we'll see. We'll see how these first 5 minutes play out. Let me zoom us in and get some bigger candles here. This is ATOS down here. GameStop up here on the top right. And what do we got down here? AVXL. And it looks like CLOV is heading a little lower with major support at $12. We have an 82,000 buy order at 12. So I'd be shocked if they can get us below that. And that does kind of fit with that channel we've been trading in, right? We've been trading in like that 12 to 14 range. and it looks like we're finding support at the $12 mark. So hopefully I didn't just jinx us, but it was a lot easier to be trading above 13 for the last 3 days. But my suspicion is we'll get right back there. Do you feel it worthwhile getting in a small position in ATOS, or do you reckon the boat has sailed? No, I think for the potential squeeze, if you wanted to throw a little bit in, and I'm saying a little bit, like, I mean, I have, a very tiny fraction of my account in ATOS. I bought 10 calls at 28 cents a piece, and right now they're worth 22 cents a piece. So you can actually get a better entry price right now than what I got. So, I mean, I think it's absolutely the potential still there because this gamma squeeze has until July 16th to actually take off. So they don't have weekly expirations like some of these other stocks. ATOS has monthlies. So I absolutely think that you could still jump in, um, right now and get in at 22 cents. That was for the $16 strike. I just bought the top of the chain because for me, there's a high probability that it's not going to happen. So I'd rather just kind of buy something, the cheapest calls, and that way if it does, I could be a part of it. Another volatile pre-market, absolutely. All right, free float. Thank you, Tyler. Free float on ATOS is 1764 million. Okay, so 17 million, I'm assuming. And if that is the case, and the free float on loan at 20%, you know what? I'm going to pull up Vortex data on this and see this because that would make the short interest ridiculous. But yeah, with the 17 million free float, we could see some major movement in ATOS if that gamma squeeze kicks off, or it'd be a lot easier to move that stock too. So. That actually seems pretty exciting. Thank you for that. Let's see here. Let me pull up, see if I can get some the Vortex data up on ATOS. If you make sure your YouTube chat box is set to live chat instead of top chat, you will get the comments in the order they come in. I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. That's why I'm kind of just like scrolling down and seeing. And then usually what I'll do is that if I'm like kind of going over something, I'll star things that I'll make sure I want to come back to. But there's not a ton of, I know I get behind and I really got to do a better job of keeping up with it. What is this? Roses are red and clovers are red too. My money runs away, so I'm blue. It's all good. This is clove for me is absolutely a buy and hold play. And I mean you might be sitting in here for a while. You might be sitting in for this could take months. My suspicion is it's going to be a lot quicker just because the cost to borrow is up. Like even today. Vortex is showing a cost to borrow of 47. I think yesterday it was 54. Any number over 1, 2, 3 to me is ridiculously high. So you just got to kind of have faith and buy and hold. You don't want to sell in these days for a loss, and then a couple days later it pops and it gets back above 15, and you would have been in the green. That's my advice, but again, that's what I would do. I should say. I'm not a financial advisor. I should say I lose money in stocks too. You know what I mean? So I'm by no means an expert, but that's just from my experience. Looks like CLOV was able to bust through the $12 wall that was set up. So I'm just gonna check and see. We're still seeing a very small amount of shares borrowed today. So. We'll have to see how this plays out, but I'm going to pull up this ATOS real quick while we're just sitting here watching because I want to see. Yeah, 17 million, and then See, this is what I don't get though. You know, like I just pull up this Ortex real quick. This is for ATOS. Percent of free float on loan, 20%. But it's saying that there's 25 million shares on loan. So it's almost like their calculations here aren't taking into account what's the free float and what's the actual float. The actual float is, I think, about 100 million shares. So those numbers would line up more so with the percent of free float on loan. But utilization's dropped off a little bit. Cost to borrow is high, not nearly as high as CLOV. But we'll have to see. Like I said, when I bought the ATOS calls, you know, I was looking at a high risk bet that would pay off with a high reward, you know, and nothing's really changed in my thoughts there. We have till July 16th. Um, Frank says, on my way to Disneyland with the wife and daughter. Hopefully we get a little of that magic for CLOV. Keep up the good fight, and let's have a great holiday weekend. Absolutely. Frank, are you, out of curiosity, are you in California as well? Are you driving from out of state, flying? Just curious if there's anyone else from California in here. Thanks, Frank. Hope you and fam have a great time. Absolutely. If the options have so much open interest on 14 and 15, why wouldn't they be trying to push it to put all those contracts in the money? They being so right now, I mean, you gotta figure open interest is who bought the calls. So if you're saying like if there was some whales that bought in or retail or whoever, trust me, I'm sure they are. You know, whoever. Well, it depends too, right? I mean, if it's somebody like retail, like I don't have any calls right now for this week, but you know, even if I did, I don't have the capital to push the price. It would have to be like some whales or somebody that maybe came in and you know bought up 5,000 of those calls or something, and then they also have the money to push it. But we've been seeing this going back all the way to April now, where someone's loading up the option chain on CLOV. I mean, there's almost every expiration date as we get closer to it. People have been trying to open, you know, like load it up, and you know, for the longest time they were failing until about 3 weeks ago when they actually were able to do it, and that's when we saw that hit and that big move up. You know, that spiked us up to 22 and brought us to a new base of 12. So, you know, if there is some big players behind it, they were successful in you know on that one, and that's all it took to kind of rebuild the base and get us back up to 12. So my suspicion is, you know, at some point they'll be able to kind of you know, get this thing to kick off again, and then we'll get a new base. Maybe our new base will be 15, 16, maybe it'll be 20. You know, and we'll continue to inch up. And every time we inch up or gap up and move up and kind of create these new base levels, what it does is it puts more pressure on the shorts. It makes the cost to borrow go up, and then at the same time, it's giving us this new kind of springboard, right? So if we were to squeeze, and Tar Heel Blue's a guy that really pointed this out, you know, in relation to AMC, and then I started looking at GameStop too, and just where I think it can go. But you know, if we were to squeeze from $6, our ceiling or the highest we're gonna go would be a lot smaller than if we squeeze today from 12. You know, and so we can create a new base at 20. Our potential heights are going to be even higher if we create a base at 20. So if this is something that drags out for months, like GameStop has been, or like AMC did, you know, and AMC kind of is as well right now. It seems like it's creating a pretty decent bull pennant right now, even though I'm not in it. You know, we've been watching it. But anyways, what I was getting at is, you know, getting up there and then falling down, consolidating, trading sideways. It's healthy for a stock. It really is. I know it doesn't seem like it because, you know, you just want them to go up, but it's really healthy, and I think it's healthy for the squeeze. From Boston, live in LA. Okay, all right, right on. No, I agree with you too. You said I'd assume that 15,000 contracts is likely not retail. Absolutely. Um, Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, there absolutely is some big money that's trying to push this stock as well, but there's also big money on the other side trying to prevent it, right? Um, so, all right, so just looking at the markets, it looks like at least so far early on we're about, you know, 11 minutes in. CLOV down 2%, GME down 0.8%, trading at 202.63. CLOV actually did break through that 12. Hasn't held a candle though, which is, or did it? What are we looking at? Yeah, it held that last candle at 11.98. So ATOS down, or kind of flat, down 0.03%. AVXL down 2.8%. Just looking at some of these other stocks that I'm watching, AMC down 3%. Currently trading at 52.56. Okay. And Space, even though it gapped up, it's showing that it's up 8%, but it is currently trading at 52 off a pre-market high of 60. So interested to see what happens there. Um, the other thing about gaps, and I'll keep on saying this, they tend to get filled. So if you are looking for an entry point in space, I wouldn't recommend FOMOing in right now. I would say that, it might give back most of the. Here, I'll just pull it up real quick, just because I know there's a lot of people interested in space and Virgin Galactic, and it could be one of those scenarios where it doesn't fill the gap. But I wouldn't be surprised to see this go down and touch somewhere around this $45 area before taking off. Even if it just gets down to 46 or 47, that would be my suspicion. Um, at least that's the way I like to play it, because that seems like it happens so much that you're better off. I mean, 9 times out of 10, 90% of the time it goes down and fills the gap. I would rather be safe, wait for it to get down to $45 to buy back in, or even 46, 47. And if it never does and I miss out on that play, there's plenty of other plays out there. But, to jump in now, knowing that there's a 90% chance it's about to go back down to 45 before taking off, to me is really terrible odds. And that's where, when people talk about like finding good entry points on a stock, um, that to me, that's like the easiest rule of thumb you could follow is, don't FOMO in on a gap up. Um, let's see. Healthy for my average too, buying more now. Yeah, I mean, anybody that's got the extra capital and wants to average down on their price, let's say you're still above 12, it's a good opportunity to average down. Absolutely. Um, Anybody who's new here, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate you in here. I do these live streams every morning. I try to do power hour when I can, that last hour of the day. But that's also one of the announcements I wanted to make. So today I'm not going to do power hour because I'm going to be hanging out with Tar Heel Blue. He's going to do his stock tales. I know he did one last night. I was on the road, so I couldn't jump in. But he's going to do a power hour stream today. Um, at so from 12 to 1, last hour of the day. He might even go longer. I don't know. I'm sure he will if he's having a couple cocktails. But check out Tar Heel Blue. He's going to do a stock tales, I believe. I mean, that's the message that I kind of got from him. When I went to bed last night, when I checked my phone this morning, it seemed like he was still going to do it. So instead of me doing the power hour today, I'm going to go on there and try to support Tar Heel. And probably have a couple drinks and enjoy the market. Hopefully, we'll be having fun. And honestly, I mean, for Fridays, it's kind of the end of the week. I'll talk to him about it today or whatever. But I'd rather I'll go hang out with him every Friday. I mean, it sounds like fun. Absolutely, if any of you guys that are in here, check out Tar Heel Blue on YouTube. Great dude, a lot of knowledge, really good with technical analysis. He's 100% CLOV, and I'm just trying to support and also have fun. I had a blast last week when I went on Thursday. Started drinking and just listened to him talk and kind of participate in the chat. And sometimes it's fun to just kick back and watch. So that's my plan for this afternoon. Um, and then on top of that, that brings me to a couple other things. I think it's really important to support the CLOV community. Okay, and so that's why in my description I put a link to the CLOV subreddit and also a link to the CLOV Discord. So um, if you have a chance and you want to get on there and read um, some of the great posts and DD that's on there, um, absolutely go subscribe to the subreddit. There's a lot of information, and you kind of get it at the moment it comes out. People make posts, and it's a great way to kind of see what's going on and get a feel for the community, and support the community. And then the Discord's always active. I put a link to that in there too. A lot of good stuff, being talked about in there, and a lot of networking and connecting going on in there. The last thing I want to bring up, which I'm pretty excited about, um, and nothing's really finalized yet, but I'd say it's probably a 99% chance that it's going to happen. We're just, we were talking about it yesterday, and I was on the road texting about it, but it looks like what's going to happen is on Monday, markets are closed, and we're going to try to set up some sort of like CLOV community roundtable type thing, discuss not only the fundamentals of the stock, but the short squeeze, try to build the community, get more people aware of what's going on, all the different things, answer questions. And it's not just going to be myself. There'll be some other, people who've been posting some great DD about the stock, and then there'll be some other YouTubers. I know Tar Heel's coming in for sure. I don't know. There's some other ones that I've been talking about, and I don't want to say their names because I don't want to put any pressure on them right now because I don't know if they have responded on the Discord yet. They're in a group chat that we set up, but I don't know that they've actually confirmed the time yet. So, but we're gonna, and then also some people who've been posting on social media and that seem very knowledgeable about the stock. So that's gonna be on Monday. 4 p.m. I believe is the time we're kind of setting right now. But as soon as we have it, the info all dialed in, which will probably be in a couple hours here, I'll probably make a little short video about it, giving the information about when it's going to happen. But right now it's looking like Monday at 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock Pacific. So if you're on the West Coast, or East Coast, it'll be 7 o'clock. And that's the plan right now. I think it'll be really fun. Sometimes questions come up that I don't know the answer to. And then to be able to kind of rely on other people and let them kind of answer it, and then I can learn myself too, and we can all kind of feed off each other and help contribute where our strengths are. There's other people that are really, really highly knowledgeable about the fundamentals of CLOV, and I think it'd be important to kind of hear from them and hear about how great of a stock this is and how the stock is more than a meme. And I'm sure that there's others that can add a lot more than I can when it comes to that type of stuff, because I'm learning about CLOV's long-term potential and long-term growth from a lot of these dudes who are writing the great due diligence on the subreddit. So I'm really excited about it. This is going to be Monday. Obviously, if you can't make it to it, it'll be, replayed on the channel. You'll be able to go back and watch it. But that's the plan right now. So this Monday, while the market's closed, kind of getting a lot of people from the CLOV community together. We'll have them all up on the screen. Obviously, the market won't be going, so we won't have the bar charts up, and we'll just kind of be sitting around talking and answering questions in the chat. So I'm really excited about it. I used to post under Badass Dad's Cast. Okay, yeah, all right, yeah, absolutely remember. So you've been in here for a while now. Okay, we'll have fun in Disneyland, man. For real, enjoy the trip. I actually just went not too long ago, and it's at least right now, it didn't seem like it was too busy. I've been there before COVID. And, sometimes it's crazy. You can barely get in. You're stepping over strollers, and you can barely walk around when it gets super packed in there. But it wasn't like that when we were there recently. So have fun and enjoy your weekend. And we'll see you back here for sure. I'm assuming, Tuesday when the market opens. Let's get after it. Do you think we'll see 1150? I mean, it's hard to say, but looking at the the level 2 data, I would imagine we're going to see some support coming in here. 10,000 shares at 1190, um, 14,000 shares at 1180, 23,000 shares at 1175. There is a lot of support built up in here. I would imagine we probably will find a support level somewhere around there, maybe 1175 at the lowest. Um, but there was also a huge wall at 12, and they busted through it. So, anything is definitely possible. I hope we don't see 1150, only because we don't want to lose those major support levels either, right? I mean, I definitely would love to see today close above 12 so that we could stay in that channel. We don't want to break below that. Um, just looking at some of these other stocks. So again, CLOV trading at 1186 right now. GameStop kind of following a similar trend, heading downwards, down 1% at 202.01 right now. ATOS, same thing, down 1.8%, trading at 629. AVXL down 2.8%, trading at 23.86. And BNGO, my neglected play that no longer gets up here on the four screen, down 0.29%, trading at $6.80. Just looking around the rest of the market, AMC also that looked to be the biggest loser so far. So down 4.5%, trading at 51.70. And we are not correlating with the market. The S&P 500 gapped up, and it is continuing to rise, trading up $1.47, which is 0.35%. So this seems to be something that's specific to the memes, so to speak, or the popular stocks, the highly shorted stocks. I'm gonna pull up a couple other ones real quick just to kind of double check. BlackBerry down 0.62. Actually saw some green candles this morning, and it's just now starting to fall. I know Workhorse is another one that's been pretty popular. I just want to see if this is kind of across the market. Workhorse also negative. On a gap down, it looks like down 0.77%, so not nearly as much. And I think that's it in terms of the popular ones that I could think of right now. Chad says he's in for another 115 shares, average down. Hope this is the bottom. Yeah. My speculation is that it is. I mean, we have a pretty decent support. This is what they want to do, though, right? So they want to short this stock and create doubt. So and that's kind of why I think building the community is huge. You want to get people. We want to get a community built of people who learn about the stock, learn about the long-term potential of the stock, and make them feel confident in holding through these volatile days. I mean, whenever you're in a squeeze play, whenever you're in a highly manipulated stock, you're gonna see huge volatility swings. I mean, shit. GameStop was at $330 a couple weeks ago, and now it's at 200. I didn't sell nothing. I'm still holding. And that's a huge swing. But I have faith that it's going to come back. And that's through being a part of the community, reading about it, and understanding that this is kind of part of it, and being through these type of swings. And I think it's just something that you got to be calm about and understand. So that being said, that's why I think building the community is important, because the more people that are knowledgeable and the more people that can kind of get on and whether it be watching me or anybody else who's talking about this stock, or read about it, or following people on Twitter that are posting good information about it, or wherever it may be. We want people that are going to buy and hold and understand what this stock is about, and understand that even if a squeeze doesn't happen, they have the potential to triple their money. What I think in the short term, I think by the end of the year, if a squeeze never happens, CLOV should be worth is worth right now probably $20 to $30 on its own merit. Um, so thoughts on CLOV failure? FDs. I thought you meant failure to deliver. Um, for today, I wouldn't. I mean, that's just. I'm not. I don't have any options anytime soon. If you're talking about options for today, um, let's see. I mean, damn, I forgot the chain went all the way to. Let's see here. Where do they even start? There we go. I mean, at this point, if you wanted, I wouldn't buy a 43 or nothing because you can get a $14 or 14.50 for a penny. It looks like, or 2 cents. I mean, yeah, if you wanted to buy the dip right now, I mean, for $1, $2. I mean, I think that's a pretty decent shot. I'd say it's highly unlikely, but there's a chance, right? I mean, right now we're losing the battle, but there is a chance that all of a sudden we would bounce back and take off, and the gamma potential still is there, and being that you can buy, um, you know, for $1. A $15 strike or a 14.50 strike. I wouldn't go way out here. There's no point to it. But yeah, I mean, just know you're probably just throwing the money away. Um, but that's pretty intriguing. Is that really? I'll check that out and make sure that my other. Yeah, the 14.50 strike is a buck. Um, make sure. I mean, for $1, I'd say that's probably worth it. That's just if you wanted to throw in and kind of buy one of those. That seems kind of crazy, but like I said, I mean, it's $1 you're probably throwing away. You know what I mean? Um, but if Clove was to, make a rebound here and then push above 12.50 or $13, I mean, you probably be able to stand to make some pretty decent profit. But I don't know. Let's see. Just hit 1180. What are the next big support levels? Sorry, I know I'm behind on that too, but it looks like we kind of caught support at 1180. We dipped through to 1173, 1170, 17,000 seems to be the next major number. Let's see what happens. Took profit on ATOS yesterday. Thoughts on SOS? Ooh, SOS. So, uh, I bought some SOS a while back just on a whim. Knew nothing about the stock, anything. It was it's supposed to be, and this is my knowledge as of 5 to 6 months ago. It was kind of this stock that was supposed to be tracking Bitcoin like another Mara or Riot. And Bitcoin was through the roof. And some friends of mine were kind of like, it hit me up. This was like 4 in the morning, and they're like, "Man, SOS is starting to spike." And there's speculation that this is going to be the next one that tracks Bitcoin and all this stuff. And so I threw a little bit. I waited until the market opened, and I bought a couple calls on it, and then it immediately got like cut in half. Um, and there was speculation out there at the time that they were like kind of fraudulent and kind of a farce, and nothing was really going to happen with it. And those just expired worthless, and I've never even looked back at SOS, so I'm not even sure what's going on with it. I know it went from being highly pumped to all of a sudden that a hit piece came out on it, basically kind of making it seem like it was a fraudulent company, and then I don't even know what's happened. That was just kind of one of those things where I tossed a little money in, just to see if it was going to take off, and it didn't. One of those high risk, high reward bets that don't always pan out, but when they do, they're worth it. Um, so let's see here. I could check out. Now I'm curious to see what SOS has actually been doing. Where we going here? So SOS is down on the day. Yeah, so when it was getting up here at $15, I believe I kind of bought in somewhere around here at 12, thinking it was going to continue to rip. And yeah, uh, but at the time, my buddy of mine that was talking about it, and he had been killing it on a lot of crypto stuff, and a lot of stocks that were tied to crypto, and so I'm just like, okay, yeah, if you're jumping in, I'll jump in with you. I'll throw a little at it. And, yeah, I don't have much of that other than that. Let's see. Um, Had good news recently. Got in at 320. Sorry, I didn't mean to just jump away from SOS. I just saw some other chat people saying that ATOS was going down, and that sort of thing. So I just wanted to kind of get over here and see what was happening with these stocks. I know CLOV broke through that last resistance level, and it seems like we don't really have any major buy support on level 2 right now. So I wanted to also check the Ortex data and kind of get an idea of. Only a net borrow of 300,000 shares today. Um, this could also be kind of, I don't really like the term, but, like paper hand selling, like, people that got in thinking this was going to be a 1 day play, and, maybe bought in at 13 yesterday, and now they're deciding to jump out. And that's exactly what the short sellers want. That's why they attack a stock, because then they push it down, even though cost to borrow is high, they have to get out. Um, at some point, and then as soon as some people that just bought in jump out, now that's forcing the stock down even more, and that's when they want to come down and cover. Now is get in and cover down here. So um, we'll see what happens. Let's see here. ATOS is going down, down, down. Do you really think it will touch $8 someday? So my whole thing was, the whole reason I got into ATOS was because of the option chain. So for me personally, I got into ATOS because there's a huge gamma squeeze potential for July 16th. Um, Now, a lot of times these gamma squeezes don't pay out because you have another side of the coin that's trying to push it down and suppress the price to not let it rise up, right? Especially when you're in a stock that's shorted. So, very high risk, high reward in terms of the gamma squeeze play. But now, as I've been poking around like the ATOS kind of subreddit, reading about the stock and what they're doing, um, I believe that it potentially could get up there to $8 and probably even higher. But with a lot of these pharmaceutical companies, therapeutical companies, anything in that nature, it all comes down to, they're highly volatile in nature, right? So as you're waiting for, you know, phase 1 results, phase 2 results, phase 3 results, and this is just my experience in general with these type of stocks. Um, Great results, you'll see a stock skyrocket, and then the next time bad results, and you'll see it kind of plummet. And in this case, highly shorted stock too that looks like it's being manipulated and kind of driven down. But I did also point out with ATOS that um, there is a gap that exists here. And so it wouldn't surprise me to get down to see us drop to 591. And there's also a very, very, very tiny gap that exists from 535 to 558. Although it does look like, between these two wicks, I wouldn't count on that. But if it did go down and touch 535, that wouldn't shock me either. And again, looking at the price action on this stock, you know, I wasn't in for all these run ups, but it seems like on every run up that it had, here we got a run up from what 289 to 683, so it almost tripled in price, and then it immediately gave back, almost half, 50% of its value, or more, before continuing to run up. And that's basically, I think, what we're seeing right now too, is besides it being shorted and trying to be pushed down because of the gamma squeeze potential that exists, but you're also going to see people take profits, play the gap fill, and then look to re-enter at bigger entry points or better entry points. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to see that fall down a little bit more. And CLOV is continuing to drop. Our CLOV was hilarious last night. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't get a chance to really kind of lurk in the subreddit like I normally do last night, just because by the time I got home, it was like 9 o'clock at night. Had to get the kids ready for bed and everything, and then I was tired. I fell asleep so that I could get up for today. I think we sufficiently reading paper hands. I read that already, but wanted to put that up there some more. Yeah, this is an insane drop. It absolutely is. Co-creator says he's buying more. Keep cash handy, really good deals. Yeah, for real. I mean, that is, the way to do it is to kind of always have some dry powder ready to go. Unfortunately, I know I've said this myself a bunch of times over the last couple of weeks. I don't have any right now. I bought that dip after the 25, 28 run up. I bought the dip at 17, thinking we were getting close there, and didn't pan out for me. So I'm waiting. Let's see here. When there was a little covering at 7, CLOV went up to 30-ish. I think this is a last ditch scare. Potentially. I mean, me personally, I don't think there was, and I know you said a little, and so, that kind of, and you're not saying a ton, but and there probably was a little bit of covering, but I kind of talked about this a lot. When we were down here, in this area and saw this huge run up to 30, to me, this right here, this movement was mostly due to retail and the options chain. Um, we may have seen some covering in here because of the high volume, but we saw just as many shares getting shorted again at the top. I'm sure this type of spike created covering, but I think that the majority of this was gamma induced. The option chain pushing us upwards, at least to here. This run up to 25. Somewhere in here would probably absolutely, when we got up to 28, was shorts getting in. Could this be a last ditch scare? I could see it. I could see it happening, especially when you talk about like those FTDs, and if they do need to be the failure to delivers, and if they do need to be delivered by today, it would behoove them to drive the price as low as possible before they buy those shares back, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, anything's possible. Like I said, I mean, for me personally, I believe in the stock. Um, it's highly shorted. It's highly, and so the potential for a squeeze is there. And on top of that, you know, this is a stock that should be trading in the 20s. And at some point, once kind of all this meme status dies down and everything else, if the squeezes go away and everything stops happening, this stock will end up rising back up to $20 or $30 because that's its true where it should be trading at. So for me at least, just buying and holding. I know it's hard to watch these days, and I'm not saying that you're having a hard time, Purple. I'm just kind of talking, but I think that's really the important thing is like we're seeing these drops. It could be a last ditch effort. It could be people selling. It could be people that maybe bought in, like I said, looking for a 1 day quick hitter, and now they realize that this isn't it, and they're jumping out. But I do think that the community has been building up, and we do have a lot of people that are in here that are buying and holding stock. We just need to build on that. We need more people like that. Waiting for it to get closer to 11 to buy. Yeah, I mean, right now I do not see a ton of support here on the level two. I'm gonna pull up the RSI real quick because I gotta imagine. Oh yeah, I mean we're way in the oversold territory too. So I would imagine this should reverse at some point. I mean we're down here. The RSI right now is at 8. Anything below 30 is kind of oversold territory. So just wondering now where we're at here. 16. Yeah, so I mean, all of these have kind of been in oversold territory for a while. Let's see. Chad says, how is the volume in comparison to the rest of the week? That's a great question. Let's see. So right now, 10 million volume. Volume is kind of drying up right now. Let's go look at the daily chart again. Yesterday we had volume at 24 million. The day before 33. Day before that 72. 35, 50, 101, 150. Those were the ridiculously high days. But prior to that, this stock was trading in kind of a 7, 8, 9, somewhere around there. Traditionally, kind of it's like a 9 million, volume stock. I think is somewhere where the average was that I recall before these numbers kind of skewed it. So we're definitely down on volume today. But what I've been saying and kind of talking about is that when you're in these squeeze plays, low volume is actually to me, low volume is with red kind of just shows me that the shares are drying up, and all you're seeing is like the shorting going into it. And if you look at like a GameStop, and I'll keep comparing to it because this is a stock that I've been in, and if you zoom out, look at the big picture, a lot of GameStop's biggest gainers, and when things started really taking off, is after the high volume days. If you look at volume on GameStop was pretty huge up in here, and then it just dried up for a long span. And once all of a sudden, covering started happening, FTD started piling in. Um, you know, we saw an increase in volume, and what happens is, and I'll get back over here now, but as volume dries up, I know a lot of people think that big volume means huge stock price, right? It means everything's going to go up. But when you're talking about squeezes, low volume days, and as volume starts to dry up and run out, it increases the days to cover for the shorts. So now as they're piling on with their short position, and the volume's drying up, and now all that's left is the people that are holding the stock and refuse to sell. When they do have to cover their short position, it becomes covering any sort of buying at all in a dry volume situation is going to make the price skyrocket. It's going to make this bid and ask spread get wider and wider and wider. And now, as they have to buy, you're going to see the stock go up tremendously. At least that's my understanding, and that's kind of what we've seen with GameStop. Speaking of GameStop, it did touch a low of 196, down 2% on the day right now. Just hit 249, looking to kind of get back to VWAP. Hopefully, this will kind of signal a reversal for kind of all these memes right now. As I'm looking around, AMC is also kind of a similar pattern, and so is BlackBerry. So maybe this will be the reversal we were looking for. I'm gonna pull the RSI up here too, just so I can get a. And again, just looking at this, GameStop was trading down at 23, hit a bottom of 16 on the RSI. CLOV right now is ridiculously low. trading at 10 on the RSI right now. So, and all that means is that it's oversold. So usually when you get down that low, at some point, a reversal's coming. At least, in my experience. I mean, there's been stocks that have traded down here for days, but most of the time when you get into this oversold territory, a reversal's coming at some point. Sold my ATOS before the drop and buy more CLOV. Yeah, I mean, and I know from what I recall, you were sitting on shares too, so you didn't lose much. Like, with calls, I know I keep saying this, but for me, it was just a high risk bet. I mean, my calls are down 50% now. I bought them at 28 cents. They're at 15 cents. I'm just going to let it ride because, getting out and selling and I mean, I don't know. I'm going to let it ride out until July 16th and see what happens. They have to have been saving ammo to hit us while people are busy during the holiday. Yeah, I mean, so we are going into a holiday weekend too, and I mean, there's sometimes you get kind of crazy price action going into a holiday weekend, and I've talked about this multiple times this week. I feel like because we had the end of the quarter, we had the 3-day weekend, and I feel like there's something else that I'm forgetting to say right now too, where there's always like no, it was the end of the quarter, but either way, there's always speculation like, okay, well, it's the end of the quarter, there's going to be a lot of buying, or it's the end of the quarter, there's going to be a lot of selling, or we're getting into the holiday weekend, and so every stock is different, and every fund or institution is different in the way that they treat the end of the quarter, going into the holiday weekend, all that kind of stuff. And I think co-creator, you could be absolutely right in that, they want to demoralize shareholders before the 3-day weekend. And so, we talked about this a lot that, they don't have to short the stocks when they borrow it, right? So when we see 7 million shares borrowed on a given day or 3 million shares borrowed yesterday or any of those numbers throughout the week, they could be borrowing them and holding them for the right opportunity to hammer the stock down. And it could very well be that they've been saving these shares for today, to really get this drop in before the end of the weekend. You could be absolutely right. We just got to see how it goes. And the same thing works in the opposite way, right? Like sometimes when you see a net of shares returned, and you're thinking like, well, man, if they're returning shares, I don't see the price going up. Well, they could be shares that were borrowed and never used. It works the same way. But as of right now on Ortex, we are looking at a net of 324,000 borrowed. So nothing major going on. 900,000 shares have been returned today. 1.2 million have been borrowed. So not a lot of action in terms of brokers. I mean, shorters returning or borrowing shares. At least so far. Nolan says he likes 11. Give me that average down. Yeah, I mean, if you got the dry powder, why not? I feel that this is a combination of panic, frustration, selling for CLOV for people, as well as getting out of their positions for the upcoming long weekend. Am I way off base with this theory? Well, that kind of goes back to what co-creator was talking about too. Now I'll say this: I feel like people that are really in for the squeeze and buying and holding, and especially maybe some veterans. And what I mean by that is people who maybe were part of the AMC squeeze and jumped out, or part of some other squeezes. I would say that they're not selling. It's more the people that are jumping in and they're kind of like first time and they're getting scared off this volatility. This volatility at this point, I feel like I'm numb to it. After sitting in GameStop for 3 months, I really am. So, I think that it's just this volatility is part of it. You can't get like so tied up on, oh, today's going to be a good day, and then get, to use the word again, like demoralized when it's not. I mean, you just gotta kind of have that mindset that like, all right, you want to throw this at a 7% drop? I don't care. I believe in the stock. I know you're still shorting it. Hey, I got some extra cash. I'll buy up some dip. You just gave it to me at a discount. That should kind of be the mindset when you're in this. If you can afford to get in there and grab it, go ahead. I'm almost too nervous to keep averaging down. I dump another grand in buying shares to average down, and it gets eaten up as price tanks. Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you're comfortable with. You know what I mean? Absolutely, you got to do what you're comfortable with, and I believe in that wholeheartedly. Um, and that's why I don't really like the term paper hands because, um, everybody's got their own reasonings. I mean, if you know what I mean, if you're putting in money that you need and you absolutely, money you shouldn't have put in, one, I would say that you shouldn't have been doing it. But then that I can understand when prices get sketchy and people get scared and they can't afford to lose the money. I totally understand that, and I don't want to knock anyone for that. But you know, for me, if I had the extra cash right now, I would be buying it. And I'm not telling you to do it. I don't have any extra on hand, so I'm not buying this particular dip. But um, I believe this is a $20, $30 stock. So, and I'm willing to hold a stock because my background before I got into trading is in investing, and it's like for me that's easy. It's like you buy a stock. I know CLOV's going to be worth more than 11.46 one day. I'll hold it for 6 months. I'll hold it for a year. I'll hold it for 2 years. Until I get a reasonable gain that makes me willing to sell. And that's what I think kind of the mindset, what sets apart CLOV from a lot of other squeeze plays is knowing how undervalued it actually is. And being able to get in here and buy this stock now with the mindset of a long term investor that a squeeze is just part of it, right? I can get in right now, buy this stock, and I'm willing to hold it for a year, 2 years, 3 years. It might be trading at $100 on its own merit with no squeeze even involved. And now, if a squeeze does happen in the next couple of days, weeks, or months, now you could sell, put a nice profit in your pocket, and then go back in and buy CLOV if you believe in the company. Well, Michael kind of gives the same example. So, if you believe in this stock, like all of us do, our patience and determination should be rewarded. Yeah, exactly. Um, the ATOS call is disposable. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like it's just, you know, I'm just gonna let that one ride out. And, when I get into kind of these like high risk reward bets, like I am with ATOS, it's just kind of like if it pans out, it pans out. I think I said it in the video that I made. I'm going to buy these calls and just close my eyes and hope that it pans out. So for me, I guess my mindset in that is if this stock plummets down to $3, $2, I'm talking ATOS now, it's not going to phase me at all. This is one that I went into like a bet, like I'm betting on a sports game and it has a 50% chance. And it's like, if it loses, I lose everything. If it wins, I'm gonna win. It's almost like something along those lines. Scotty says, "Don't panic, hold." Absolutely, and we are seeing this reversal now. Look, so GameStop kind of seems to be leading the pack. Broke through VWAP now. It's trading at 201.76. And CLOV it looks maybe to be lagging behind with two green candles. So we are kind of seeing some of these stocks move together. AMC, same pattern. Workhorse is starting to come back. I did kind of change some of the stocks I'm looking at up here. Um, so maybe we found our bottom now. Maybe we found, and I'm not just talking CLOV, I'm talking with a lot of these stocks. Maybe they're all ready to get their rebound on. Um, right in time for me to sign off. I feel like for the longest time, every time right around 8 o'clock came on, it was like that's when things started getting exciting. Let's see here. I bought $15 calls for today on CLOV. Whoops. Coach told me not to, but I'm a rebel. I felt like the open interest was looking good to run up to 15 before the end of the week. Did you buy them today? If you bought them today, like I said, they were someone had pointed out they were 1 penny, I think. And I'm not buying any because I'm not in a position to. But for $1, who knows what could happen? If you got $1 to burn. Um, I'm only gonna hold. I'm waiting for $100. Shaw says, seriously, all this bullshit, I just hold as I believe in the company I'm investing in. Like Warren Buffett said, invest in a company even if the market is close. For 10 years, you wouldn't be afraid. Absolutely. And that's kind of the mindset, right? You just, especially with the squeeze play too, you just got to kind of have that long-term investor mindset. And that's why I really think CLOV is a great entry price right now for a squeeze, because there's not too many other squeeze plays that you can get into right now with the confidence that you're not going to be a bag holder. Okay. Because nothing's guaranteed, right? Um, GameStop, I love it and I love the future of it, and I'm a big holder of GameStop. But to buy into GameStop right now at 200, um, you know, there's no guarantee of what the company is actually pivoting to. It's all speculation right now, and if that doesn't work out, this stock could go back down tremendously. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm just being real. I mean, that's always a possibility, right? But I do believe in GameStop that even if the squeeze doesn't happen 2-3 years from now, once they do pivot, it might take longer, but it's going to be a $300-$400 stock, maybe $500 stock. And that's why I'd say this is like more medium risk in terms of an entry point price. But then you look at a stock like AMC, and again, I'm not trying to bash it, but where it's trading at right now as an entry point, $50. From what I could tell, once the squeeze is over, and if people move on from the squeeze, that stock's going to end up back down in the $10, $15 range based on its market cap, because that company isn't doing anything new that's going to make it worth that much money. And again, I'm not telling anybody to sell their AMC, but as an entry point price, I would be kind of scared to get into that one as well. But when you look at CLOV and where it's trading at right now at $11.60, I mean, to me, this is a stock that, based on the contracts that the company already holds, based on the money that they're already bringing in, this stock should be trading at least $20. So I mean, you're getting in at a great entry point. And so yeah, if you're buying dips and you're averaging down or averaging up or anything like that, you're getting in at an undervalued price right now, and that's why I think this is absolutely um, the best entry point for any of these squeeze plays on the market. Now, I'm saying that, and I don't know enough about some of the other ones. I was just talking about the three that I know of as of right now. Um, so let's see. As my positions get mature, I will only buy it ridiculously low. Scotty says, hold tough, Closter, sup coach, sup all, back to Disney now. Yep, all right. Let's see, hold strong. I've only sold small amounts of shares to dump more into CLOV. Uh, okay, I've only sold small amounts of shares to dump more into CLOV, and had a little BB and a little AMC and a little ORF. ORF's another one I don't know much about. Um, let's see here. CLOV will get to 30. I have zero doubts. Um, I will wait to buy more, but maybe lower. I see no floor. Yeah, I mean, there is no kind of resistance level at this point. We were kind of trading in like this $12 range. Let's see here. I'll just pull it up real quick and show you what I'm talking about in terms of. And if we close above this mark, I would say we're still kind of sitting in there. But if anything, I would say a resistance level. And I don't know why my oh, there we go. The next significant resistance level I would say that we could potentially see is this bottom from the other day, and that's actually where we just bounced off of. This 11.19. So, yeah, and that so I mean, we hit this low, and which kind of established the bottom of the initial consolidation period, and now we just came back up and kind of hit like a little double bottom off that. So that's actually kind of a bullish signal. Um, let's see if that holds. If that's our bottom for the day, that could potentially mean we're ready to start moving up. I mean, technical analysis and that sort of stuff is kind of hard in these squeeze plays too, because these stocks are so highly manipulated. But um, kind of getting down to that point. And this says 11:30. Why am I showing a little bit different on here? The bottom okay, we hit 11:30 today. So hard on this. And it looks like that was 11:19. So we're not entirely there yet. Uh, but even if we were to drop a little bit more today, I mean, we're right in that range. It doesn't have to be like, specifically to a T. But this does kind of look like a, somewhat of a double bottom scenario. And, we potentially could see this thing ready to reverse now. We'll just have to see how it pans out. So GameStop was available to break above VWAP and hold it with little volume though, and now is trading back below it. Right now, currently at 210. CLOV, kind of the same. It looks like it's just lagging behind GameStop almost by 5 minutes. So we saw 3 green candles from GameStop, and then 3 from CLOV, then 2 red from GameStop, and now we're on our first red from CLOV. So it looks like it's almost lagging behind. Sometimes these stocks kind of track each other, so I'm going to keep an eye on that. AVXL, which is kind of weird, seems like it's has a similar pattern to CLOV right now. This isn't from what I know, kind of a shorted stock at all. And then looking at the S&P 500, it's not doing anything similar that would indicate that this is kind of a market-wide thing. Could just be a coincidence. We'll have to see what happens. Coach, let's be realistic. People sell because they see runners elsewhere like MRIN. People have no patience. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that there are people, like I said, that are looking for the quick hitters. You know, for me personally, that's why I've never gone like 100% in GME, 100% in CLOV, 100% in anything. But, kind of my strategy. Originally, even with GameStop, I was about 80% in GameStop, and then using that other 20% of my account to go play the runners and play other stuff and be able to kind of stay active and keep my mind, being able to watch something else besides staring at one chart, which I knew I wasn't going to sell regardless of what happened. Um, but then over time, as I hit, money on different stocks and different plays, I still never sold any position in GameStop, but I grew my account more and I started building up this club position. So, but even now, I still always keep a little reserve so that I can go in and play these other stocks with the intention of pushing my money back into these big two, because these are the ones that I think have the biggest long-term potential, you know. Um, and there could be other stocks out there that also do, but these are the ones that I feel confident about. And that's what I talk about in terms of building a community up, and why that's important, because then more and more people will understand why you have the potential to make way more here than by just holding, than going and chasing a runner, which really a lot of times when you do chase those kind of runner stocks, um, some people become bag holders, especially when you don't know much about them, and I'm not saying anything negative about MRIN. I honestly don't know much about it at all. But you jump in at the top somewhere, and thinking that it's going to continue to go, and then it ends up falling down, and now you're the person stuck, holding those worthless shares. A lot of that happened to people in January. Um, Real quick, I want to pull up space. AVXL is not doing much today. I'm going to pull it up here because we had talked about earlier. Um, I think it's going to fill this gap, and I'm going to pull it up just to see exactly what that number is. I think it was 45. And just speaking of not wanting to, kind of jump in and get into something, like anyone who saw that Richard Branson news, we talked about it this morning, how I wouldn't jump in here even though it gapped up, because you want to get a decent entry point. It does look like it's going to come down and try to fill this gap. And honestly, even though it had, tremendous news and everything, I wouldn't be surprised to see it maybe even fall down to 41 before you actually get an opportunity to really get a valuable entry point. That's what I was waiting for before when I was talking about. I've been watching Space, Virgin Galactic, and looking for an entry point. I was kind of waiting for it to drop down to 41. And this is where I'm talking about people chasing runners. Probably jumped in up here today at 53. And I honestly believe if they hold, they'll get it back. But that's why I try not to run, chase into things. And if I am going to chase into things, I do it with that little fraction of my account while I'm keeping my money, invested in the plays that I believe in. All the money I put into stocks is just money for car parts, play money, so it's not the end of the world if I lose it all. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way too. Like, while, it's easy to, you get excited when you see, the green days and your portfolio's going crazy, and then, you see the down days and it sucks, and it kind of, it's hard to not get excited or not get upset. But, I also have like my 401k that, it is. We'll see. I know people have different thoughts about 401ks and all that, but at the end of the day, that's the money that I'll be relying on, right? This is money that I'm just trying to become a millionaire off of. And if it doesn't happen, it was, I've kind of reloaded my account so many times where I've made a nice chunk, taking it out to do stuff with, and then start back small. So I'm not afraid of starting with a small amount and growing it back up. And I think that's kind of the mindset you have to have. If you're using money that you really, really, really are dependent on, nothing is guaranteed. I'm sitting here talking about how safe CLOV is, and I really truly believe that. But I don't think anybody should be investing money that they can't afford to lose. If that's the case, look for a blue chip stock or something like that. Also, though, I'm probably contradicting myself because I do feel like CLOV is a safe investment. But from a squeeze potential, you don't want to be using money that you can't lose. But say CLOV, I think, is a safe investment right now at 1140. I don't know. But you definitely don't want to put money in there that next week you're going to have to sell because you need to pay your house payment. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make, because of the volatility in this stock right now. I don't care either. The subreddit is holding. Absolutely. And you know what? I'm just going to bring that up again. Go in the description of this video and, go join the subreddit. It's r/CLOV. And if you're into it, join the Discord. A lot of people talking about cool stuff on there, pertaining to CLOV. A lot of up-to-date information. Yesterday, I was kind of following the Discord more than I was anything else, and just kind of, scanning through and like, oh, okay, as things were happening, it was a lot easier to be able to follow it. Look forward to be pleasantly surprised, but expect to lose. Yeah, it's kind of just having that mindset. Manipulation on CLOV is insane. Bouncing right out of my buy range. you were looking for 11, huh? But yeah, there is no serious support on here. But I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. These red days suck. I don't know how else to put it. My grandpa always taught us growing up, stock plays are a 10-year play. Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm talking about too. Like, if you do your research on CLOV, I know I made a video that was pretty. I try to simplify things in my videos because I noticed that people like watching shorter videos. But it kind of breaks down a little bit about where CLOV could be right now. I didn't really get into the potential, the growth of CLOV. They also have the Clover Assistant, which I think is going to be really disruptive in the entire healthcare industry. And You know, it just if I think if you threw money into CLOV right now and just turned around 10 years from now, you're going to be very happy you did. Um, you know, so it is kind of one of those stocks. But I think, you know, from an investment standpoint, absolutely. Um, cheap calls make me Randy. Uh, investing in a good company is better than money sitting in the bank. What's up, coach? I bought in at the end of the runner up. I'm rather new. Learned a big lesson, but I'm holding you. Got to have thick skin in this game. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's just and again, you know, I bought in on that run up too. And sometimes I don't follow my own advice, you know, like um, you know, just looking at this, I'm staring at a huge gap, and I'm sitting here talking about how there's a gap fill happening on the channel, you know, while we're live and all that other stuff, and that, you know, I wouldn't be shocked to see this gap fill all the way down to 12. And while you're saying it, and it seems insane to think about that there could actually be a gap fill all the way down to 12. What did I do? I bought in again at 17. And I say again, I never sold. I was still holding my original position. The only thing that I sold up here was calls that were getting ready to expire at the end of that next week. But my long term position I still held on to. And it's like as it's falling down, I came in here and bought at 17, knowing that I was expecting a gap to 12. So you know, again, sometimes it's hard. FOMO is real. Uh, let's see. Thanks again. When it dips, your calm makes me calm. It's just, you know, honestly, it really, I attribute that to GameStop and just being a part of that volatility for the last 6 months. It was rough at first, um, but I don't think anything can match that. I don't know if the date's correct, but that January 28th day when, you know, we saw a stock go from 480, and I didn't hold through that either. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. Good friend of mine, me and him were kind of like texting during that, and like, bro, are you gonna keep holding this? What the hell's going on? You know, I mean, it started out up here, and I want to say this was rough as hell, and I sold here maybe at 210, 220 ish, and yeah, it continued to go all the way down to 110. I mean, that was insane volatility. You know, and then it popped back up the next day to 400, and then it kept going. And you know, while it was hard to kind of like stay out of it at that point, or no, I'm sorry, it wasn't this 483 day. The day they pulled the plug, I think, was here, right? Either way, it was the day they pulled the plug, and at that point, I just got out. It was like, man, this manipulation is just too much for me. I'm gonna just kind of wait in the sidelines and see. And then I bought back in here when I saw a new floor. Um, but yeah, I mean, watched a lot of gains disappear there, and it was hard to stomach that drop. But you know, just going through this, I've just been holding from here on out. I haven't sold anything. I've only added on, and you see these run ups and these dips and these run ups and these dips, and you know, it just continues and continues and continues. But if you zoom out, and now I'm not including this, but from where I bought in at 40, the floor continues to get higher now. Okay, the floor continues to get higher. You get your run ups, and then you get a higher floor. You know, it continues to get higher, and I think that's what we want, what we're going to see out of CLOV as we move forward. You know, we got up to 28, we fell down to 12. We're going to have another run up, and we're going to fall down to a new number. Then we'll have another run up, and we'll fall down to a new number. That's if this squeeze gets drug out. Now, if it just happens overnight, shit, I'll be happy with that too. I just realized that this level 2 data wasn't all the way on the screen. Looks like the sale is ending. Yeah. So we hit 1130. You know, tested VWAP, bounced off, but now we came down and kind of held a higher low. So I would imagine we're going to go up here and test this again. Hopefully we can break through, but you know, this is kind of that whole ladder scenario that we've been seeing on the days where CLOV has rebounded. So I think 11:30 might have been the bottom of the day, but who knows? Wall Street bets is all about the get rich quick hype. Yeah, you know, but you can make some money following that stuff. But like I said, I just use a little tiny fraction of my account for that type of stuff. You know, you throw a little bit of play money that you could throw in, and you just got to know if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I've actually hit on some big ones on there too. You know, it's just kind of getting a feel for the sentiment and seeing what seems like it's going to be the big play tomorrow. But a lot of that has changed too since January. I really feel like. You know, it's kind of a little bit harder now to kind of see what's going on. Maybe you could look up MMAT. Prospect of this company is huge, and there's a lot of big companies invested in them. Latest rumors is with Tesla. Is that the one that was, or I could be totally off here, that was going to merge with Torch, TRCH? I was trying to look into Torch the other day, and I was reading up on it a little bit, and I think that might be the play. And I was kind of intrigued on what I was reading on that one, if that is the same play. I just, right now, I'm in 5 stocks that I believe in, or 4 that I should say I believe in. ATOS is just kind of a bet, but trying to keep my eye on 5 stocks at once is hard. And it's really hard to pass up on plays too. But the one thing that I think is important for anyone who's new to this is that there's always going to be another play. Okay, and that's what you just got to understand. Like, do not FOMO into something. That's where you lose. You might make money, 1, 2 times, but then the other 8 times you're going to lose. And that's why it's really important to, like, not go YOLO your account into something that you're chasing. And I'm not speaking about MNAT right now. I'm just saying why, for me, I just know there'll always be something else. If you miss the boat on Tesla, you know, you had an opportunity again with GameStop. And if you feel like you missed the boat on GameStop, I feel like you got an opportunity now with CLOV. And I'm just talking in terms of short squeezes right now. But there's plenty of other opportunities out there too. There's plenty of other pharmaceutical companies that, are going to move from $1 to $15 in the course of a month. And you'll always have the opportunity to seek those out and get in on those big rides. I know, and you're crazy, man. Hoping the thing will tank so you can buy will cause it to go up. Yeah, got no fear. Down is good, up is fun. Where's let's see. Uh, Yesterday, the late AMC bounce was whalish. I'm not familiar with it because I wasn't watching the market at the end of the day yesterday, but now I'm going to zoom out and take a look. You know what? Why would I look over here when you guys could see it as well? Let's take a look. So AVXL actually busted through VWAP 2, 2405. GameStop looks to be kind of creating that higher low and busting through VWAP, and it seems like CLOV is following GameStop just a little lagged. So I really feel like things might be turning around here. But let's pull up AMC. I just want to see what you're talking about with it because I have been keeping tabs on it. I got a lot of friends who are invested in it, and I know a lot of you guys are too. Okay, so volume-wise, 881,000 the candle before. Yeah, volume doubled, and then it went on a nice little run to close off the day. What time was that at? So right during power hour. All right. Okay, when did we hit bottom here? 7:15, 7:15, 7:20. So AMC and GameStop kind of hit their bottom at 7:15. Like I said, it seems like CLOV hit its bottom at 7:20. It just seems like it's like on a 5-minute delay of these other kind of big meme stocks. It's crazy how that works sometimes. And then I'm going to show you guys another kind of weird comparison. So here's ATOS and here's BlackBerry. Two other I don't know if ATOS is necessarily considered a meme stock, but it is highly shorted and potential for gamma squeeze and all that kind of stuff. But hit a bottom at 750, and BlackBerry's not following the trend of these other memes either. And BlackBerry kind of bottomed out at 750. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on BlackBerry to see if maybe that'll kind of give us some insight into what ATOS is going to do. Sometimes these stocks track together. Um, I don't have a very crystal clear explanation as to why, but it happens. A lot of times during the first GameStop run up, GameStop was leading the way on a lot of these stocks, and I was using that as a means to day trade AMC and some of the other stocks. You'd see GameStop do this type of price action, then come down and find a bottom, and I'd immediately be able to go over to like an AMC and say, okay, it's following GameStop's movement, buy, and then be in and ride it up. And as soon as I see GameStop start dipping, sell. But I'm doing it on a different stock that was lagging behind. I mean, there was and I'm not recommending doing that right now. I'm just saying I just kind of learned this is something that was new to me in January, that some of these stocks were trading independently and tracking together like independent of the S&P 500 and some of this other stuff. Space will close under 50 to avoid tons of calls, which expire tonight. Yeah, I could see that. I also, like I said, I think it's trying to fill that gap, but I'd love to see what the space option chain looks like. $13,000. So there is heavy interest there at 13. That seems to be the big number, with not a lot of puts offsetting. So yeah, I mean, I can see that that's kind of where they want to suppress it to in terms of that. But they're well below that right now too. We're trading at 48. So yeah, I really think you're probably right on that. That there will be a level of suppression coming in at 50 from market makers to kind of keep it below there, and even shorters for that matter. Um, but at the same time, if I was going to jump into space, if anyone's looking to jump into space, I would almost wait for at least 46-ish, um, to kind of fill this gap of yesterday. But even just seeing how CLOV and even ATOS and other stocks are doing, and now that you're kind of seeing how this works, it could be going all the way down to 41. But if you don't want to make sure you're not missing the boat on it, 46. If you want to be safer and you're okay with not with getting that FOMO and never getting it back, wait for 41. I'm probably going to wait for 41 because I'm in too many other plays right now. But I do like space. But then if you look back, I mean, gaps don't always get filled. Here's a couple of those anomalies, right? But very rare to see these on charts. 90% of the time they do get filled. So something to consider as you consider what stocks you want to invest in. AVXL looking to go test 25 now, and also test the high of the day. Remember, this is a stock that doesn't really, in my opinion at least, fit into kind of the rest of these. I wouldn't consider this a meme. I don't even know if this has been getting hyped on Wall Street Bets or anything like that. Nolan has a buy order at 11. I'm behind on the chat again. My bad, guys. Mac Romo, nice to see you in here. I keep buying the dip. Been averaging up from 9. Your videos have given me a lot of conviction. Thank you. I hope I'm right. And I only say that because, this is crazy for me to have, I've been making videos and some of them are getting views in the thousands. And it's like, I've said this so many times when I first made this channel, my intention was just to kind of share videos with some of my boys, and some of my friends and, like 10 or 15 people. And now I'm getting a lot of attention and I appreciate it. And I love the support that everybody's giving. But then it puts more pressure on too. But I really feel strongly about this. Like I really have high conviction in CLOV. And the more and more every day that I read about it and talk to people, like I've been talking to some of the mods now on the phone of the subreddit, and when I have questions, there's been people have been writing like great DD on this stock, and I've been taking the opportunity to get on the phone with them and talk to them about it and become more knowledgeable about things that even I don't understand. So when I say I'm learning every day, I am. ATOS looks like a good entry point. We'll rebound Tuesday. Did we fill the gap now? Yes, we did. All right, so anyone who was watching this morning, I was talking about how ATOS had two gaps that potentially needed to be filled, one at 591 and potentially one down here at 537, and it did fill both. Yeah, I mean, I think if anybody wanted to play ATOS as kind of that little bet that I was talking about, this would be a good entry point. You know what? I normally don't do this, but I'm gonna double down right now on that. And this is a straight up bet, high risk. I like to gamble. I'm gonna put one in. I'm just gonna. I mean, the calls are so damn cheap. I bought them for 28 cents a piece. They're now trading at 12. I'm gonna just double down and get my average down on them. And again, short squeezes are or not short squeezes, but these gamma squeezes, they don't always happen, but the potential does exist there for one. So, um, do not chase highs. Your account will love you for it. Absolutely. Would it be better to hold 100 shares or an option? I don't know what stock you're talking about, but in the case of like a CLOV or a GameStop, I would say shares. Absolutely, because you can't put an expiration date on the shares, and you don't know when the squeeze is actually going to happen. Um, for like an ATOS, which was like I said, just a pure bet that this thing will have a gamma squeeze before July 16th. I would buy the uh, options all day because like with shares, this stock could go back down to $1, and you're going to lose a ton of value. Or you can let's just say 100 shares right now cost you $530, right? But if it goes back down to $1, uh, you lost $400. Or you could buy one call right now for even like a $10 call right now for $20. Um, and now if it doesn't work out, you have the movement of 100 shares. If it does work out, but if it doesn't work out, shit, you lost $20. So I mean, for me, that's how I look at some of these like little gambles that I get into. Is just kind of it's just a risk reward type thing. Um, I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right prices here. Um, all right. Is space legit? It's getting beat to death. I mean, it gapped up, right? It gapped up, and and again, I'm not getting into space right now or anytime soon. It is a play that I got in a long time ago. I know that they just got approval for commercial flights to space, which is crazy. But I mean, how crazy you think about 30 years ago? How crazy was the concept of a cell phone? I mean, or a car that works on electricity with no gas, or like all the other technology and innovations and stuff. And these people were talking about commercial space flights. And while there is other companies that are also trying to accomplish the same thing, Virgin Galactic is a company, Virgin, I should say, that has always kind of been at the forefront of, you know, advances. I mean, you got Virgin Records, Virgin Mobile, Virgin Airlines. They're always kind of moving into the next innovative thing, and they're always somewhat succeeding in that. And they did have a successful test launch. And the gap up overnight was because I think Richard Branson is going to be has said that he wants to beat Jeff Bezos to space, and and so the speculations there that it's going to happen. Um, so I mean, for me, um, yeah. So Nolan, I'm reading through all your comments as I'm talking. So it's showing up 9%, and the reason that it is because it gapped up. So the what you're seeing on the daily is it's up from $46 yesterday. So right now it's up from where, or no, I'm sorry, it closed yesterday here at 43. So it's up right now $3.50 from yesterday, but it gapped up, and that's where I talk about like filling the gap. I mean, I really think this thing's going to drop all the way down to um, probably here 41ish. But I think if you wanted to get in, uh, and you didn't want to miss out, you might be nearing that entry point now. But if I'm going to play space, I'm going to wait for it to get to 41 before I even try to. Just because, I mean, I don't know. I already made a little bit of money a couple weeks ago when they did the successful test launch. I jumped in and rode some calls up to 28 and then cut them. Um, but I mean, this is a company that, I mean, shit, kind of like I was talking about with pharmaceutical companies. They have a good phase one results, stock goes up. Good phase two, stock goes up. Bad phase three, it's back in the dumpster. And so, space has these uh, potential catalysts lined up. They do another test launch and it goes good. You might see this stock double from 40 to 80 overnight. Um, and then they do another test launch and it goes good. You might see it double again to 160. Um, but then it has a test launch that goes bad and crashes and some people die. And, I mean, I don't mean to be blunt, but something like that happens and this thing falls back to $20. So very risky play until, but it's kind of the company that, I mean, how much do you think a stock is going to be worth if and when they actually start doing commercial flights to space and people can actually go jump on a damn spaceship and go up to space? I mean, I don't even know. And you have an opportunity now to get in on a company like that at $40 or $20 a couple months ago. Um, and that's why I had originally bought into space a year ago. I think I got in somewhere around like $12 or something, $17, and then I sold it when it got to about 40. So I missed out on that price moving up to 60. But this is also a stock that was trading at 60 not too long ago. So I think for sure it's going to head up that way. Can CLOV squeeze? Oh, absolutely it can. It's just going to take time. Space versus Amazon. Yeah, Amazon could buy space too. All right. So I finally understand gaps. Yeah, I mean, if you go look at any chart at all, on the daily, this is a daily chart, and that doesn't always happen. Here's space with a gap from 17 to 19 that never got filled, and from 21 to 25 that never got filled. So it doesn't always happen by any means, but it does happen 90% of the time. And so for me, if I'm looking for an entry point in a stock that I'm kind of feeling FOMO about and I want to get in on, I'd rather wait for the gap fill. And if you look back at CLOV, again, how likely did you feel like when we were trading up here at 28 that we were going to come back down and touch 12? But we did. And 90% of the time that shit happens. It's just crazy, but it does. And I'm talking about this gap up from here from 12 to 16. And oftentimes, and if you go back and just, zoom in on charts, you'll find other gaps, and you'll see where, here was a gap up where CLOV gapped up from 8 to 9, and then the very next day it filled the gap before running up to 11 over the course of the next week. So, this isn't necessarily negative. It's just consolidation. It's gap filling. You have a lot of investors that are going to wait for a gap to fill before they jump back in. So, it's just, my advice is just that there's, and I'm not talking about CLOV now, but, when you're looking at any stock, there's always going to be another play. So if you kind of even just keep that 90% gap fill in mind, and use that as an entry point strategy when you do see a stock ripping, if it happens to be that 10% where the gap never gets filled, then you missed out on that one. But there'll always be another play. But if you wait for that gap fill for your entry point, you'll be better off. And that's why I kind of say it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I've said that so many times, that there's so many traders that view it in that way, that a lot of times the stock will always fill the gap because you have so many people that are like, no, I'm not going to buy it yet. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for CLOV to get back down to 12 before I buy in, when it was trading up here. And if enough people are waiting to buy, guess what's going to happen? The shorters or whoever's selling is just going to keep tanking the stock. But then when it hits this point, now you're going to start seeing people get back into it. So that's why I say self-fulfilling. Before I sign off, there's a couple things I want to talk about, and then I'll kind of go through the rest of the stocks. One, I'm not doing Power Hour today. I am going to join Tar Heel Blue. He's been doing some streams on CLOV, and he's having Stocktail Hour. So he's going to be having some cocktails, talking CLOV, probably going over some technical analysis, having fun. And, I'm going to go jump on his and probably, participate in the chat and just watch, have fun. And I'll probably be having a couple cocktails myself. So if you're free, go check out his live stream. Should be fun. The other thing that I want to mention, and I'll be putting out a little video about this over the weekend as well to kind of pump it up. But we're trying to organize a CLOV community kind of roundtable for Monday. Markets will be closed. Probably going to be about 4 o'clock on the West Coast, 7 on the East Coast, so 7 Eastern. And right now, I think I'm going to be hosting it on this channel, but we'll see how it goes. And as more information, once I hop off here, I'm going to be getting more information on that. But right now, that's the plan. It's going to be for Monday. It'll be myself, maybe some other YouTubers, some other people that have been writing DD on the CLOV subreddit, and maybe some people off social media who've been really knowledgeable about the stock, and just kind of all come together, talk about it, answer questions in the chat, answer questions from each other, and really just promote the community and help try to build the community and get more people back, into CLOV and understand how strong of an investment this is. So that should be coming up on Monday. The Stocktail Hour. I believe he's going to do it for Power Hour from 12 to 1. I'm on the West Coast, so the last hour of the market. That's my speculation, at least. And I'm going to call him when I get off here right now just to double check, because I've been promoting it, during this whole stream. I want to make sure that he actually is doing it. If he's not, I'll probably end up doing a Power Hour, and you'll get the notification if you're subscribed to me. But I'd say I'm 99% sure he is, because that's the last thing me and him talked about. So I won't be doing the Power Hour. I'll be on Tar Heel's channel. It's Tar Heel Blue. Just looking at the stocks real quick. So CLOV seems to be rebounding a little bit. We're still down 6% on the day. Currently trading at 1160. GameStop 198. I'm fairly confident this thing's going to pull back above 200 before the end of the day. It hasn't closed below 200 for a while now. Currently down 2.75%. Wow. ATOS finally filled the gap, and even though I said this was a high risk, high reward type play, and I was only throwing $280 in it, the gambler in me took over, and I doubled down a little while ago at 12 cents. So bringing my average down to about 19 cents, I think, per call, but I did go in a little heavier. So um, I might have brought me down to 20. I don't know, whatever. Either way, I did something that I said I wasn't going to do. So we'll see how that. Hopefully ATOS pans out. AVXL is also down on the day, down 0.22%, trading at 24.52. And BNGO, my neglected stock that didn't make it on the top four, is down 2%, currently trading at 6.6. I'd really, really, really love to see that get back into that 7 and 8 channel that it fell out of yesterday. Um, BlackBerry looks like it's on the rise. It just had a nice big green candle that took it up above VWAP about 5 minutes ago. And it's continuing to move. So, any of you guys that are in on BlackBerry, hopefully you'll see some positive stuff coming. It just broke above $12. AMC down 8.3%, currently trading at 49.67. And Space is continuing to fall, but still up 7% on the day. That's one that I'll be watching. And the more I'm sitting here talking to you guys about it, I'll tell you right now, if we end up seeing this thing touch $41 soon, I'll probably end up starting the position on Space, on Virgin Galactic. But that's going to be, could be a week from now, could be a couple days from now. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you're new to it, hit the like and subscribe button. If you hate it, I don't know why you're still here, but you can still hit dislike. And, hopefully I'll see you guys on Tar Heel stream later on this afternoon. If not, look out for a video that I'll be dropping within the next couple days, announcing this CLOV event that we're going to get off the ground. Look for more information in the subreddit or with some of the other YouTubers that are going to be joining in on the event. But we're looking to get that going on Monday. And I'll see you guys when the market opens on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your 4th of July. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.